Welcome back, everybody, to the FTN Fantasy Recap Show. I'm your host, Mike Randle. Again, we join you every Sunday, and this was a spectacular Sunday. Fantasy performances galore all over the place. Upsets, close games. We didn't think were going to happen. Chiefs and Jets here. So much to get to. 15 minutes. We take you around the entire NFL. Make sure to join us here, FTN Fantasy. If you're not a subscriber, we have articles, we have DVOA, we have all this stuff, bets, fantasy, daily stuff. Our FTN Daily crew killed it again today with great predictions for you to help you win that money. So join us, subscribe. If you're not, jump in the Discord. Let's go around the league. Here we go. 15 minutes in and out. Every single thing you need to know for fantasy. First up, the Thursday game, Lions 34, Packers 20. Jared Goff, 210 passing yards, touchdown, interception. David Montgomery with the 3 touchdowns. Remember, I say this all the time. It is not what we think should happen. It's not what we would do. It's what the coaches will do. What the coaches are doing and what teams are doing is they are investing high draft capital in running backs, but they want them to stay on the field and they want them to stay healthy. So a veteran like David Montgomery, who just plods along and doesn't look dynamic, is going to have value and they're going to trust him. That's why Monty, 3 TDs, Jahmyr Gibbs, 8 for 44 receptions. When Monty didn't play last week, he had 17 for 80. When Monty comes back, he takes a back seat. That is the way it is going to be all year unless Montgomery gets injured. Amon-Ra St. Brown, death, taxes, and Amon-Ra St. Brown giving you quality fantasy performance, 556-1 in each of the first 4 games, a touchdown or 100 yards in each of those games. Josh Reynolds, 3 for 69, came back from the injury. Sam Laporta, 456, which is a pretty good line for a tight end. On the other side, Jordan Love, horrific, but he saved his line, 23 of 36, 246, a touchdown, 2 interceptions, just did not look comfortable back there. Aaron Jones, 5 for 18, didn't look completely healthy. A.J. Dillon, droppable in all formats, terrible plotter, can't make a catch, 5 for 11. Romeo Doubs, 9 for 95, was a solid line. Jaden Reed, the rookie, looking good, 355. Christian Watson comes back from the injury, 2 for 25, does catch a touchdown late to salvage his line. Today, the Bills 48, the Dolphins 20. Josh Allen, a big day. 5 total touchdowns, 1 on the ground. James Cook finally gets a TD we're looking for. Struggles on the ground against Miami, which is going to happen. 1 reception, 48 yards, though, a solid stat line for him. Stephon Diggs, 6, 120, and 3. Massive performance here for a top wide receiver. Gabe Davis even found the end zone in the first quarter, 3 for 61 and 1. On the other side, teams that come off of massive wins, massive wins, just tend to struggle the following week on the road. Tua Tagovailoa, 25 of 35, 282, a touchdown interception. Devon Achane looks to be a thing. He's going to cut into Raheem Mostert. Achane is really becoming, dare I say it, the lead back there. 8 for 101 and 2 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill, 3 for 58. Remember, if you looked at my article this week, I told you that when you have Sean McDermott, he's been very successful at limiting Tyreek Hill. Braxton Berrios did catch a touchdown, 6 for 43, and 1 Jalen Waddle, not much. Jaguars 33, Falcons 7 over in London. Lawrence, 42 rushing yards, a touchdown, 2 Calvin Ridley early on broken coverage, 23 of 30, 207. This may be in the game to get him jump-started here for the Jaguars attack. Travis Etienne, no doubt, lead running back, not Tank Bigsby. Bigsby can get some of those goal line rushes, but Etienne is going to be the lead guy. 20 rushes, only 53 yards against that Falcons defense, but 20 rushing attempts we like to see. Christian Kirk, 8 for 84. Evan Ingram, 7 for 59. Got injured, came back in, still performed very well. Desmond Ridder, horrific. 19 of 31. He did throw a TD, 2 interceptions. Bijan Robinson started to get the majority of touches, which is what we like. He had more than double the rushes than Tyler Algier. Tyler Algier is still going to play a part in this offense, but the Falcons are so anemic on their offense that they're going to have Bijan take a larger role. So as much as Jahmyr Gibbs is taking a backseat to Monty, I don't think Bijan's going to do that anymore because they need him. They don't have a lot of playmakers, and Desmond Ridder cannot make plays down the field. So in this situation, I think you're fortunate if you have Bijan because Tyler Algier has to take a backseat because Bijan is the focus of the offense. Jonnu Smith, 6 for 95. Kyle Pitts for 2 for 21. Enough with Kyle Pitts. You can put Kyle Pitts with the Christine Michaels of the world. I don't care what his metrics is. He's not being used properly here. Jonnu Smith, 6 for 95, looked like the better player. Drake London did catch a touchdown, but again, Ridder is just not a quality passer. You have to wonder when they're going to go to Taylor Heineke. Broncos 31, Bears 28. Look, this Broncos defense is catastrophically bad. Awful. Bears put up 28, 4 touchdowns and interception, 335 yards for Justin Fields, who looked horrific coming into this game, was fantastic for you. Khalil Herbert, 18 for 103, 419 and 1. DJ Moore, 8 for 131 and 1. This Bears offense looked terrible. The Broncos defense let them put up 28 points. Cole Kmet, 2 touchdowns. You could have stacked. You could have double stacked Bears. However, on the flip side, as bad as this Broncos defense is, stop telling me that Russell Wilson is shot. That is not true. 21 of 28, that's 75%, 223 yards and 3 touchdowns. As long as this Broncos defense is bad, Russell Wilson is going to put up points because he has no choice. You have McLaughlin, the running back, Jaleel McLaughlin, the rookie, 7 of 72, 3 for 32 and 1. You have to wonder if he is the back to own because Javonte Williams, 2 rushes, no yards. That's why you see the question mark there. Jerry Jeudy, 3 for 52, trying to work his way back. Marvin Mims only catches 2 or 3 balls, and they're always for at least 20 yards. They have to use him more. Cortland Sutton, 3 for 27 and 1. Rams come back in overtime to beat the Colts 29-23. Rams had this game completely comfortably. Colts make a big push. The issue is this with the Colts. Anthony Richardson is not a good quarterback. He cannot complete passes. Look at the receivers. Michael Pittman, 1 for 15 against the Rams secondary. Ogletree, 3 for 48 and 1. Kyle Granson ended up doing 1 for 15. He cannot pass. He is not a good passer. He completed 53% of his passes in college. He's not a good passer. However, he's going to be able to produce fantasy points because of his legs. If Jonathan Taylor was there, like we thought he was going to be in August, this wouldn't be happening. But they have no running back. Zach Moss is fine, 18 for 70, but when they get to the goal line, they're letting Richardson run. 200 yards, his completion percentage was less than 50%, 2 touchdowns, 56 rushing yards, and a touchdown. The key here is that they were down big. If they're down big, they're going to let Richardson run 10, 15, 25 yards at a time and go right down the field. So teams are going to figure this out at some point, but until they do, 3 touchdowns for Anthony Richardson. Can't argue with that. On the other side, Matthew Stafford, 27 of 40, 319, a touchdown interception. Kyron Williams, big day. 25 for 103, hit the over in his rushing yardage. 2 touchdowns, hit the over in receiving yardage, 24 receiving yards. Puka Nacua, just so good. When Cooper Kupp comes back, Nacua is still going to be a thing. I don't care. 9 for 163 and a touchdown. Tyler Higbee at 11 targets. Tutu Atwell had 9. They didn't produce as much as Nacua. It was Williams and Nacua's show. Call this one on my Moneyline Underdog article on FTN Bets. Easy one. The Bengals are broke. They are not good. Joe Burrow cannot throw down the field. The fact that Joe Burrow threw for only 165 yards against this Titans pass defense tells you all you need to know. Joe Mixon, 14 for 67. They can't get the rushing game going. That's actually pretty good against the Titans rush defense. Jamar Chase, 7 for 73, just because they force him the ball. But his numbers, his ceiling, his big weeks are going to come down until Burrow is healthy. Tyler Boyd, 4 for 26. T. Higgins, enough. 2 for 19, left with an injury. On the other side, Ryan Tannehill did what Ryan Tannehill does. 240 yards, a touchdown, an interception. Derrick Henry, 22 for 122 and 1, and a passing touchdown. Derrick Henry, the big Derrick Henry game. I see the questions coming in. I'll get to them in a minute. The big Derrick Henry game has 2 gun predicted here on our FTN Daily Show. 22 for 122, 1, and the passing TD. It happened. DeAndre Hopkins, 4 for 63. I think he's limited because Tannehill is just not good. And Nick Westbrook, Akine, that's NWI, 5 for 51 and a touchdown. Buccaneers 26, Saints 9. Enough with the Saints. I've been picking against the Saints every week, and they've escaped over and over again. Finally got their comeuppance today. Baker Mayfield, 3 touchdowns against the Saints defense, which is paper. I don't want to hear about the Saints defense anymore. Rashad White, 15 for 56, 3 for 22. Be careful. A couple more of these non-productive days. They're going to go to the backup here and try to get someone else in. It just didn't work. He's there. He's getting the volume, but he's not producing. Chris Godwin, 8 for 114. Mike Evans, 3 for 40, left with an injury. Hits his under again, as Marshall Gershon said here correctly, against Marshawn Lattimore. Had an injury, but he left. He was under. Cade Otton's always on the field. Caught a touchdown. That'll be good enough for a top 10 tight end fantasy performance. Devin Tompkins, the rookie, 4 for 45 and 1. On the other side, Derek Carr was the quarterback. It should have been Winston. He was obviously not completely healthy, and it showed. 23 of 37, 127, and a fumble lost. Alvin Kamara returns. 11 rushes, 51 yards. Not terrible against Buccaneers rush defense. 13 catches, 33 yards. less than 3 yards a reception, but he did have 13 receptions. So if you get a PPR league, that'll be fine. Michael Thomas, 453. They shut down Chris Olave, 1 reception for 4 yards. Carr was obviously hurt. Rashid Shaheed, 3 for 33. Not much there. Next one I got on my Moneyline Underdog article as well. Ravens 28, Browns 3. Yes, I know that it was helped out by Deshaun Watson not playing, but I think the Ravens get it either way. Lamar Jackson, 4 big touchdowns, 2 on the ground, 2 in the air. He's not throwing a ton. The passing game is suffering here. Zay Flowers owners, people have contacted me who have him in fantasy. They're getting annoyed. But this offense is just not clicking under Todd Monken. It's sort of disjointed. Maybe it'll click at some point, but the passing is not there, but the winning is there, and that's what matters. Gus Edwards, 15 for 48. Justice Hill, 3 for 33, which looked good. Mark Andrews had 2 touchdowns, 5 for 80. Boy, he's very frenetic, but when he hits big. And Zay Flowers got a big pass late to salvage that line, 356. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, the best that he could, 19 to 36, 121, 3 interceptions. Ravens defense, remember, by DVOA, Browns came in number 1, Ravens came in 5. The idea that the Ravens defense isn't good is ridiculous. Browns defense is good, but so is the Ravens, and this game hit the under, like I said. Pierre Strong, 5 for 49. They shut down Jerome Ford. David Njoku, who had, I think, the burn, it was a very serious home accident where his face was burned on Saturday, still played, walked in with a mask on, so you couldn't even see his face, but went 6 for 46. He was their leading receiver. Elijah Moore, 2 for 20. Amari Cooper is not going to get going when Dorian Thompson-Robinson is the quarterback. Eagles 34, Commanders 31. Commanders hung in there. How about this? The Commanders, who just gave up 9 sacks at home to Buffalo, 4 interceptions by Sam Howell, actually hung in there. Sam Howell, 29 to 41, 290, and the touchdown. If you give Sam Howell time, he's going to be able to produce. He is a decent NFL quarterback. I don't want to hear that Sam Howell is going to get replaced. He's not. Give him time. He's very solid. Brian Robinson, I love Brian Robinson, 14 to 45 and 1. He should have had a second. He got to the goal line. He was reaching out, got knocked out of his hands, and Terry McLaurin picked it up, which is why you see that Terry McLaurin there had a touchdown, 8 for 86. Antonio Gibson, enough. I told you, he's dust. Forget it. Brian Robinson is the 3-down back. Antonio Gibson is nothing. And Jahan Dotson, how about all of us who are Jahan Dotson truthers, 4 for 27 and 1. On the other side, Jalen Hurts got to the 300 yards, got the 2 touchdowns, 34 rushing yards, as solid as they come. DeAndre Swift got in the end zone early, 4 receptions, 14 for 56. Kenny Gainwell did play a role, but Swift was good early. A.J. Brown, 9, 175 and 2, just a monster game for A.J. Brown. Devonta Smith, 7 for 78 is solid. And Dallas Goedert has been very disappointing. This has been A.J. Brown. This has been Devonta Smith. This has now been Devonta Smith. This has been DeAndre Swift. It has not been Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert, who many of us thought was like a top 5 preseason tight end, just has not performed like it. He's not getting the 6 for 60, the 7 for 80. It's just not happening in this offense. Steelers with a no-show here. Texans 30, Steelers 6, horrific. Kenny Pickett, terrible. Boy, sometimes those preseason things that we see are good. Sometimes they're a precursor of what's going to happen, and sometimes they are totally off. Kenny Pickett has looked abysmal this year. Got hurt, left the game. Najee Harris, look, enough of the people telling you that Jaylen Warren is better than Najee Harris. They run the same 40-yard dash time. Najee Harris is 30 pounds bigger, and Jaylen Warren is only getting rushing yards when it's like 3rd and 15, and he's shotgun. He gets handed up the middle. Jaylen Warren can catch passes, 6 for 26. Najee Harris is the lead running back. Their offensive line is terrible. Najee Harris is not dust. Najee Harris is still a really good running back in the NFL. Their line is awful. 14 for 71. And he had to work for 14 for 71. He is the clear RB1 here. Jaylen Warren, nice change of pace, nice 3rd down, nice 2-minute drill. That's what Jaylen Warren is. Kenny Pickens can't do anything if Kenny Pickett can't throw the ball. George Pickens, rather, 3 for 25. On the other side, C.J. Stroud, 1,200 yards, over 1,200 yards in his first 4 games, 306 yards, 2 touchdowns. Dameon Pierce, clearly the lead running back. Forget about Devin Singletary. He only got 81 yards, but he got 24 rushing attempts against the Steeler defense. Nico Collins, have yourself a day, 7, 168 and 2. Dalton Schultz also caught a touchdown, which is good enough for a top 5 fantasy tight end performance. And Tank Dell was shut down in this game, 1 for 16. Vikings 21, Panthers 13. If Andy Dalton starts this game, I think the Panthers win. I get it. They got to start Bryce Young. He's the number 1 pick. But if Andy Dalton starts this game, I think they win. Kirk Cousins struggling against that Panthers defense. 2 interceptions, 2 touchdowns. Alexander Mattison and Cam Akers did well. But what I see there, Mattison getting 3 times more rushing attempts than Cam Akers. 70 for 95 looked very, very good. Justin Jefferson, 6 for 85, gets those 2 touchdowns. Hadn't had a touchdown, finally got in twice. Hockenson, 2 for 24, and Jordan Addison completely shut down. On the other side, Bryce Young, 25 of 32, 204 yards and a fumble lost. How about Chuba Hubbard getting more rushing attempts and more rushing yards than Miles Sanders? Be careful, Miles Sanders. Adam Thielen, revenge game, 7 for 76. And how about Terrace Marshall, who I love, but has been very inconsistent, 9 for 56. He had 10 targets. Chargers 24, Raiders 17. He started Aiden O'Connell. I give credit there to the Raiders. They made the right move. O'Connell struggled, as you could imagine. 24, 39, 238 interception, 2 fumbles lost. Did get a rushing touchdown. That was Josh Jacobs. He was down at the 1/2 line. O'Connell just rushed it in. Jacobs, 17-58, finally scores, gets 8 receptions, 81 yards. There are very few running backs that get the workload that Josh Jacobs does. And Devontae Adams was hurt, was held without a catch in the first half, but came back 8 for 75. On the other side, Justin Herbert hurt his left hand. He was in a splint and a protective sleeve there, but he did gut it out. 13 of 24, 167, a touchdown and 2 rushing touchdowns. Careful with Herbert, but they do have a bye. Hopefully he'll be healthy in 2 weeks. Josh Kelly still did nothing with his attempts, 17 for 65, a little bit better. The rookie Davis, TCU product Davis, 3 of 51, 2 of 16. Receiver did a nice job, nice change of pace. It was Josh Palmer today, 3 for 77. Quentin Johnson just 1 of 18, 1 for 18. I think he's going to get acclimated as the year goes on, but early on it's going to be Palmer. Keenan Allen, 3 for 32 and 1 right away, but did not get one, not nary a catch in the second half. Cowboys 38, Patriots 3. Cowboys just destroyed the Patriots. And look, the Cowboys offense did not look great here. Prescott, 28 of 34, 261 and a touchdown. He was okay. Tony Pollard could not do anything on the ground. 11 of 47. He got the volume, but did little with it. You had Jake Ferguson, 7 of 77 was their leading receiver. CeeDee Lamb got free for 1 touchdown, but they did not do much here, which worries me next Sunday night when they go to San Francisco. But their defense, 2 defensive touchdowns. Mac Jones, atrocious, 12 for 21, 152 interceptions, a fumble lost. Ramondre Stevenson, 14 of 30. You know, we talked about it here with our guys at FTN. Nelson Sousa put him on the fade list, Ramondre Stevenson, talking about him possibly not being in shape. You know, I'm starting to think Nelson knows so much. I know he does, but I think he was right on this one because Ramondre's been terrible here. Zeke Elliott, revenge game, didn't happen, 6 for 16. Hunter Henry, death taxes, and Hunter Henry giving you a good line as a tight end, 451. Douglas only 2 for 45. Last game before we get to the Sunday night one, Niners 35, Cardinals 16. Josh Dobbs is decent. Josh Dobbs is doing stuff, and you saw on Twitter that Kyler Murray's not going to be back for several weeks. Josh Dobbs is a legitimate, love him in 2 quarterback leagues, but even bye-week replacement, you can put Josh Dobbs in there, 48 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. James Conner, tough against the Niners, 11-52. Marquise Brown, 7 for 96. And Michael Wilson, the rookie. A lot of you got him in best ball, one of your late-round picks. Michael Wilson, 2 touchdowns, 7 for 76 and 2. Not bad for a last-round pick in best ball. On the other side, Brock Purdy. Look at those numbers. 20 of 21 for Brock Purdy. Just perfect efficiency, hitting his men, letting him do the work. 283, a touchdown and a rushing touchdown. Christian McCaffrey, we are not worthy. 20 of 106 for 3, 7 for 71 and 1. That's 4 touchdowns for Christian McCaffrey. Good luck if you were going against him. Brandon Ayuk, good to see him healthy, 6 for 148. Deebo Samuel was hurt. They said he was fine. He obviously wasn't. They didn't need him today. 3 for 6 and 0 receptions. Those are 3 rushes for 6 yards. And George Kittle is always going to be limited, 1 for 9 in the situations that you have where Ayuk and McCaffrey are doing everything that they can. A couple questions here. We'll get to them. Let's see. Hold on one second. I got a couple coming in. We will get to them, and then we'll be able to talk. Here we go. Hold on one second. Let's see. And then I see the questions there. We'll get to them right now. Here we go. Okay. Questions coming up. Trade A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown for Lamar and Taylor. I would not trade A.J. Brown. I think you're dealing with a receiver that you can count on. And because, as I mentioned, Randy, Dallas Goedert is not getting looks in this offense, I don't see the need to do that. I don't know who your quarterback is, but I don't think we need to do that, especially when Lamar is putting up more rushing yards than he is passing yards in terms of fantasy points. I wouldn't go there. Wilson looked pretty good tonight. Lee, I think he did. I think Zach Wilson did look fairly decent, as did Russell Wilson. I'm not sure who you're talking about, but I think Zach was pretty decent tonight. Chiefs got the win on the road that they had to. The Jets are committed to Zach Wilson because they don't want to spend the money when they know Aaron Rodgers is coming back next year. Aaron Rodgers is talking about coming back now. So that's why they don't want to spend the money. They're trying to gut it out with Zach Wilson. Wasn't Zach Wilson's fault tonight, 2 touchdowns against the Chiefs. Very disappointed, Trey, in Kansas City's defense tonight. Should I play the Denver defense versus the Jets or Kansas City defense versus Minnesota next week? That's a good question. What I will tell you is this. When I'm looking at games, I always want defenses that are home. So the Broncos home against the Jets, that could be a get-right game for them. And then you have the Chiefs here. Yeah, and then you're looking for the Chiefs going at Minnesota. I don't think I can play the Chiefs defense on the road, Trey. I can't believe I'm telling you this. I'd rather look for another option, to be honest, but I would play the Denver defense versus the Jets than I would Kansas City. When defenses go on the road, like the Steelers going on the road against Houston, it's a different animal. When I can get a home defense, it's not perfect. I'm going to want to stay home. Those choices, I'm going with Denver. How am I saying that? I am, because I think Zach Wilson can make those mistakes in the altitude at Denver, but I'd rather take another choice. Randy, why hasn't Breece Hall been unleashed yet? It's very simple. They have committed to Dalvin and to Breece. They're doing both. They're using both of them, and they're just not going to unleash them. It's the same reason that Javonte Williams hasn't been unleashed. Coaches and teams are going to be careful about a player coming back. The Jets still think they can maybe make a run this year if Aaron Rodgers is hanging around and comes back early, or definitely next year. They don't want to get their running backs hurt. They're not going to give Javonte Williams a full workload no matter how good he looks on social media and practice, and they're not going to do the same for Breece Hall. They're going to use Dalvin Cook. They paid Dalvin Cook to be here. They're going to use him. So Breece Hall is not going to be unleashed, maybe as they get through the season, or maybe if Dalvin Cook has an injury. Teams are going to be careful. They want to protect their assets. And now you have a Jets team that's struggling on offense. They're not going to give Breece Hall 5 million carries because they're worried about the long-term issues. That's it, folks. 15 minutes. We're on 21 because we had so many great questions. I appreciate it. FTN Fantasy, 11:30 back each and every week on Sunday. Join me here. We go around the league. FTN, we're here for all your needs. I'm Mike Randle, Randle Rant. We will see you next week.